concept of Garden City was introduced by Ebenezer Howard in London 1898. He wrote in remarkable book Garden Cities of Tomorrow. The crises of 1873 to 1896 is the first general crisis of capitalism in the historical developments. They called it the Great Depression. The main feature of the crises is the persistent deflation in product prices, profitability problems and adverse investment conditions. Howard's solutions centered in developing smaller garden cities, linked by canal and transit and covered by a permanent green belt. Population should be 32.000 people, area should be 6,000 acres. The city patterns should be concentric with open spaces, public parks, 6 radial boulevards, 37-meter wide, extending center. Garden City approach has and most popular diagram which pushed the idea by Howard. He tried to understand the attraction of the city and found 3 magnets: town life, country life, town and country life advantages and disadvantages. Town life has several advantages for dweller like country life. These 2 different aspects could provide the optimum life standard while they should bring together. Garden City features residential areas, working areas surrounding with green belt. Each garden city have an own industries. Being cooperative basis is the main idea. Also equality is necessary for access the main citizen needs for all people. Garden City has the 3 main characteristics which separate the idea from other approach. Due to the fact that land belongs to community, not private or individuals. Limited city size but possessing in a balance is industrial and agricultural economy. And urban decentralization. After the information about the Garden City, we can explain the examples. Today, cities claiming to be garden cities have spread from their homeland to the whole world from England. However, none of these are exactly equivalent to Ebenezer Howard's drawings. These cities that highlight green spaces generally administratively inspired by Howard's ideas. Perhaps the most prominent garden city in the world is Letchworth Garden City. Letchworth, in which Howard took part in its founding, is the world's first garden city. Since Howard is a theorist, the city's planning was done by architects Barry Parker and Raymond Unwin. The way of putting the idea into materiality is quite different from that of Howard's sketches. However, green areas still stand out. In Howard's book, the administration of the settlement is the municipality. However, Howard's municipality appears in Letchworth as the Letchworth Garden City Heritage Foundation. Much weaker and less authorized than Howard's municipality, the foundation owns many properties and areas in the city. Especially commercial, industrial and office areas and green areas belong to the foundation. As the largest landowner in the city, the Letchworth Garden City Heritage Foundation still has a lot of influence on the city for an ordinary foundation. Especially the foundation that has a say on the properties that belong to it has an important place in the city management. The foundation takes care of maintenance and management on its own 5,500-acre land. There are many different zones and properties and many different structures on this land. The foundation strives to ensure the correct condition of these properties and to improve the condition of the community living in it. Especially as a garden city, the maintenance of green areas has an important place. In Letchworth Garden City, it is important to raise the living standards of people with low incomes and vulnerable people, which is one of the purposes of the Garden City idea. In parallel with this purpose, increasing the social life and life quality of Letchworth's people is one of the most important goals of Letchworth Garden City Heritage Foundation. The foundation conducts activities, meetings to improve the life of all people, especially these people. Letchworth Garden City Heritage Foundation spends the proceeds from its properties in line with the needs of the public, in line with the ideas of Ebenezer Howard. These expenditures are used not only for activities and meetings, but also to strengthen transportation within the city and to give life to some institutions. In this direction, The foundation has institutions such as cinema, theater, farm and studio. In other words, the money paid by the public returns to them as an investment. After the construction of the first example of the Garden City, Tristan Edwards made a study in 1914 based on the criticism of this work. Edwards said that the Garden City movement would damage the current economic system and national beauty. He found that the study did not take the free market society into account and the uniform society proposition was wrong. In summary, he said that he could be successful in terms of design, but not in terms of the economic philosophy he carried. The movement, which includes a cooperative production scheme, is an old practice of rural cooperatives that still exists today. The importance of investment support is emphasized in the book, as it is today, in order to ensure the continuity of the cooperative. The main reason why Howard's idea failed is because of the concessions he made to find the investments he wanted. As a result of these concessions, he had to abolish the cooperative ownership scheme in the Letchworth application. This has resulted in land and housing prices not remaining at a level that would allow the working class to rent, let alone own a home. These areas have turned into rich peripheral settlements over time. We've seen that Edwards was right from his criticism. The Garden City movement has inspired many projects with some of its ideas. One of them is Ataturk's ideal Republic village planning work. Ataturk's view of the farmer villagers as the true owners of the country shed light on this project. After the proclamation of the Republic, this idea emerged with the aim of ensuring the development of the country, whose production is based on agriculture and 75% of the population lives in rural areas. Before this plan study, the idea of sample village settlements was established for implementation. One of them is a Heimsunium village, now known as at Heimskit. The plan is designed in a circular form for a 500-person settlement. Self-sufficiency and elimination of ownership are important ideas of the plan. For individual and social development, it has been suggested that farmers produce in both individual agricultural areas and in common agricultural areas that will ensure the development of the whole village. Although it is different from the Garden City movement in terms of scale, some ideas and design of the ideal village plan work bears similarities with the Garden City trend. As an example, we can say that the abolition of ownership, a collaborative system, cooperative production, an environmentalist approach, a circular plan scheme and spaces from the urban area. In addition, while both of them make a green belt proposal, it has been planned with a self-sufficient system proposal by taking the workers to their targets in order to find a solution to an existing economic and social problem. Ideal village planning has also inspired many projects to be created for the country in the future, such as the Garden City movement, but it was not put into operation as an application after Ataturk's death. As a result, Howard's work, which failed as a practice, has been inspiring in terms of approaching social and social dimensions within the planning discipline. It has once again demonstrated the importance of a collaborative approach for social development instead of today's capitalist approach.